All right, news just coming in, and we are on standby for the Waqf law legal war, which is going to continue in the Apex Court today. It's day 2 of the top court Waqf hearing, the key Waqf law argument by the government. Today, I'm going to go straight across to Nalini. The Supreme Court, Nalini, today is expected to issue Waqf law interim order. It's, in fact, tell us what really is expected today.
Well, Sneha, getting you the live update first from the Supreme Court. Court number 1, where the hearing is going to kick off just any minute now, is jam-packed. It's full of lawyers considering the number of petitions that there are in this case. And both the petitioner side lawyers as well as the government side lawyers have both reached the Supreme Court, and they are ready in court number 1 to place their arguments. We're waiting for the bench to assemble after which the hearing is going to begin. So the main thing to watch out for today, Sneha, is going to be whether or not the Supreme Court goes ahead and issues an interim order in this entire case, because like we know, yesterday the petitioners had pushed for an interim stay on the law till the time the Supreme Court doesn't decide the issue in finality whether or not this law is in fact constitutional. At the same time, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta had urged the Supreme Court, in fact to a great extent he had made some very fervent requests to the Supreme Court to delay the hearing until today, to give him some time till 2 p.m. today to place some arguments before the court on the issue of whether or not there should be any interim relief for the petitioners. So that's going to be a very interesting thing to watch out for today, what Solicitor General Tushar Mehta tells the Supreme Court on behalf of the government regarding why there should be no interim order that should be issued on any provision to stay that particular provision regarding its enforcement. Now, what are the 3 main aspects that the Supreme Court is going to look into today? Number 1 is going to be the concept of Waqf by user and denotification of the properties as is being done under this law. So the law basically states that any properties, whether they were Waqf by user or Waqf by deed, that don't have the proper documentations in place, that don't have a Waqf deed in place, will be denotified in accordance with this law. So the petitioners had raised this grievance, saying that there are several masjids, several monuments, several buildings that are many hundreds of years old, which are being used as Waqf properties for several years by virtue of them being Waqf by user. So they don't have the documentations in place. So is it really fair to denotify these properties just because the documents are not there? So the Supreme Court had asked some very pointed questions to the government regarding this, after which Solicitor General Tushar Mehta had sought time till today. So that's going to be the number 1 thing that the Supreme Court is going to be looking at. Number 2, it's going to be the powers of the collector. Now, under the law currently, a collector is given the duty of conducting an inquiry when there is any dispute whether a particular piece of land is a Waqf land or a government land. So what the provision right now says is that during the time that this inquiry is going on, that property that is in dispute cannot be treated as a Waqf property. So against this also, the petitioners had raised an objection and said that at least till the time the inquiry is not complete, it should be allowed to continue as a Waqf property, and then depending on what the inquiry reveals, it can be decided whether it's a government property or a Waqf property. So on that aspect also, the Supreme Court has asked the centre to give answers as to whether or not this can also be stayed, so that any such properties during the course of the inquiry can continue to be Waqf properties. And number 3 that the Supreme Court is going to be looking into is inclusion of non-Muslim members into the Waqf Board and the Waqf Council. So right now the law mentions 2 non-Muslim members, but it does not mention whether this 2 is a minimum requirement rather, or a maximum requirement. Now, although Solicitor General Tushar Mehta had given his statement on record yesterday during the hearing, saying that this will be a maximum of 2 members, and this statement can be taken on record by the Supreme Court, but whether or not this will make it part of the official order today that will be issued is something we have to watch out for. Another thing that we can expect today is for the notice to be officially issued on these petitions, which means that the government and any other stakeholder that is required will be asked to officially file their affidavits in response to these petitions that have been filed. So these are the main things to watch out for. Most interestingly, whether or not there's going to be any interim relief for the petitioners, because they are very hopeful after the kind of questions that the bench had posed to the government yesterday. So they are very hopeful that on some aspects they might get some relief, but ultimately it's in the hands of the Supreme Court 3 judges and exactly what they do after the conclusion of the hearing.
Right. And the hearing is started. To tell our viewers, as we speak, the hearing has resumed and the initial arguments being made, Nalini, already. If you can in fact just take a look at those updates from Shrishti Oja, who's from inside the court at this point in time now, where the Solicitor General has said that, that this is a considered piece of legislation. And if the court is going to stay a statutory provision, that by itself is rare. The first arguments being made by the Solicitor General here, Nalini, already.
Yes, in fact, Sneha, the reason why he's saying this is because it is in fact very rare for the Supreme Court to stay a law that is that has been enacted by the Parliament. So the petitioners would have to make out a very strong prima facie case for there to be a stay issued. And that's exactly what Solicitor General Tushar Mehta is also telling the Supreme Court, that this is very rare that the Supreme Court is considering whether or not a provision of the law should be stayed in this regard. Because remember, the judiciary and the legislature are two separate arms of democracy that function independently. So for one to override the powers or the functions of another, there has to be some very strong prima facie constitutional ground on the basis of which the Supreme Court will do this. But like you said, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta has begun his arguments before the three-judge bench of the Supreme Court, and he's going ahead to say that these are not issues that the court may consider staying on the basis of a prima facie reading, which means that he is saying that these are far more nuanced issues. If a stay is granted only on the basis of a prima facie reading, then that's going to be against the power of the legislature, the power of the Parliament to go ahead and enact any laws. And this has been done after several debates and discussions have been held, not only inside the Parliament but even outside the Parliament with stakeholders. Their comments had been sought. There were discussions with the stakeholders, after which the law was enacted.
That's right.
The Solicitor General is also going ahead to say that the difficulty is that these are not issues that the court may consider staying on the basis of prima facie reading of some sections. Lakhs and lakhs of representations were considered, is what the Solicitor General is right now telling the Supreme Court.
That's right. What's really being underlined right here in the court by the government is that this was a considered piece of legislation. We've thought over this.